Hi. Yeah. No, I've been off Zoom for a while. And what was really great for me is I went traveling in September. I went to Kenya for 3 weeks. I didn't go for photography. I wasn't doing a tour. I wasn't doing an assignment. I just went to go walking. And I went with friends. I felt really comfortable going. I had to go through the PCR tests, and I had all these miles that I had to use. So I was flying business class. But I tell you, once you get outside of America, and especially I was going through Frankfurt, they're very rigid. I mean, you have to show a vaccination card to almost go anywhere, and you have to have tests. And when you're in the tourist Kenya, it's anybody who works in the tourist industry there is vaccinated, even though the country has a low percentage. But I went walking with friends for 10 days in the mountains with camel support. It was not a I didn't I wasn't photographing wildebeest or anything like that. And it was just so wonderful to be out and about. And I felt really comfortable about that. I felt comfortable about the home tests. And it was a really good introduction to what you do as you start to travel, because we will do that, and how you feel comfortable and how you're going to navigate yourself through this world and your own personal fear. And then after that, which was not long after, I taught a workshop for the Santa Fe workshops in Mexico, in San Miguel, kind of light Mexico. But nevertheless, even though they didn't require a COVID test, surprisingly, to get into Mexico, they, again, it's like Mexico. So everyone was wearing masks in the street. It's so interesting. And it was when I get back to America and go through Denver, I go, but it was really it was very refreshing for me after so long, and I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed my time being on my own. I've enjoyed getting back into my gray room and printing, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But going off on these adventures and traveling, which I hope will resume next year, it was good to get a taste in the waters for myself of how I felt about it. So, I don't have any photographs from Africa because I haven't edited them, and I didn't go there to photograph. I went there to walk, and we did some very serious walking, I have to admit. But what I have been doing, I'm going to share my screen right now, is I've been printing a lot because I have a show coming up in January. Thanks to COVID, I've gotten back into printing, which I really, really love. In the Obscura Gallery here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, it's starting. I think my opening is January 21st. You can do the link to it. But what's been wonderful is that I started printing, but I have to admit, everything kind of changed for me in July when I started test driving some of the new Epson printers. And no offense to Canon, but I was blown away by the new Epson printers. And I live in New Mexico, very, very dry. It's always an issue with Epson, but the detail and the colors, I've changed. So I'm in the process right now of redoing all of my images for this show that's going to, I think it's going to hang January 12th, and the opening is going to be the 21st. So this month that I was hoping to be processing new images, a lot of them I was just reconfiguring for these richer blacks and these richer blues, which for infrared is really important to me. And if you've been following my workshops, you know that I actually just finished the 7th edition, round 7, we call it, of these infrared workshops, because I'm learning more and more about how to work with these different conversions, and more people are getting involved. And so that's great. So I don't know when I'll do round 8, but I'm sure it'll come up in the future, and it's on the Nobechi site. Just sign up if you want to be on a waiting list, because I'm learning more and more how to work with these very rich colors with infrared. But what I'm really excited about is working with Eddie Soloway. We are great friends. Eddie Soloway, during the time of COVID, he has been one of my best friends, and we felt really comfortable with, we come over and we have a talks outside, because I have an outside fire, and we talk about how we feel about photography and what we're doing. I mean, we've been doing this for years, but particularly during the past year. And do you guys remember that amazing film in 1981 called My Dinner with Andre? It was directed by Louis Malle, and it was written and starred by Andre Gregory and Wallace Shawn. And yes, they're theater people, but they were talking about their experiences and how they felt about things. And we were outside one day and we were talking about this. And we just thought, let's talk about our travels. Let's do it's not a workshop, it's a seminar, but a very, again, thoughtful seminar about how do you approach travel. We're very similar in some ways and very different in he's definitely more of a landscape photographer than I am. I'm more of a indigenous photographer and very remote locations, but we're charting our evolution of ourselves through our different aesthetics. Unfortunately, he can't be here tonight because he's on he's doing in-person workshops because he photographs in America landscape. But we're going to start with our beginning. So I only have my graphics, and then we have these in-depth conversations that are practical and inspiring. And then we also talk among ourselves, like, why do we travel? It's a question all of us have to ask ourselves. And we start with our beginnings and where do we go with it? And then we talk about approaching a place for the first time. And I talk about Iran because a lot of people just sort of go, really, Iran? And Eddie talks about his early trips to Patagonia. And then we have another conversation about defining our own personal philosophy. And then I talk about, what is it like to slow down in really fast moving situations like I do in festivals and things like that, really practical. And then this is where it becomes really interesting, like becoming creative, because we approach it in very, very different ways, seeing differently and presenting new interpretations. And I talk about what I forget to do, because this is really important, because you have to keep it in your brain. And then how do you stimulate your creativity? And obviously I do it through infrared, and Eddie does it in a different way. And then we talk about our assignments and how we approach it, the book assignments that I've done in the past. And then we talk about what it means to really go back into places and dive deep, and what it means to travel these days. And and we both have different interpretations on that. So with that in mind, I'll stop the share, and we can come back to questions now or later.